New Orleans, the French Quarter, a place of vibrant life, but also a place of deep shadows. Down on Royal Street, a particular building stands, 1140 Royal Street, the LaLaurie Mansion. Its elegant facade, 3 stories of Creole grandeur, wrought iron balconies casting long dark shapes on the sidewalk below. It looks like so many other historic homes, beautiful, stately. But this house is different. This house holds a secret, a terrible, terrifying secret, one that still chills the blood today. Many walk by this mansion every single day. Tourists, locals, ghost hunters like us. They snap photos, they whisper its notorious name, they feel a strange pull, a sense of unease. The building itself seems to radiate an energy, a cold spot in the warm New Orleans air. It's more than just bricks and mortar. It's a monument to suffering, a container of unspeakable horrors. Its history is etched into every stone, every shutter, every darkened window. The mansion was built for elegance, for high society, for lavish parties and sophisticated gatherings. It was meant to be a symbol of wealth and status. But behind that respectable veneer, something evil festered, something monstrous. The walls were designed to impress, but they also served another purpose, to conceal, to muffle the sounds of unimaginable cruelty, to hide the evidence of a dark soul at play. We've investigated countless locations, places where tragedy has struck, where spirits linger. But the LaLaurie Mansion, it's on another level. The sheer weight of its history, the intensity of the claims, it calls to those who are sensitive to the paranormal. It dares you to look closer, to uncover the darkness that it so desperately tries to keep hidden. But some secrets refuse to stay buried forever, especially secrets drenched in so much pain. Delphine LaLaurie, Marie Delphine McCarty by birth. She was a prominent figure, a woman of immense social standing in New Orleans society, born into wealth, twice widowed, then married to Dr. Louis LaLaurie. She was known for her beauty, her charm, her lavish entertainments. People flocked to her home, eager to be seen, eager to be part of her elite circle. She was the queen of the New Orleans social scene. She moved through the city's grand ballrooms, a picture of grace and sophistication. Her parties were legendary, filled with music, laughter, and the finest food and wine. She knew how to cultivate an image, how to present herself as a benevolent and cultured hostess. On the surface, she was everything that New Orleans aristocracy admired, respected, even envied. But this was a carefully constructed mask, a deceptive illusion. Behind the closed doors of her magnificent mansion, a different Delphine emerged. One stripped of her societal grace, one consumed by a darkness that few could comprehend. The contrast between her public persona and her private actions is stark, chilling. It makes you question everything you think you know about human nature. How can someone so celebrated be capable of such profound evil? This question hangs heavy over her story. Her wealth and connections provided a shield. They allowed her to operate with a degree of impunity. In a society built on appearances and a system that devalued so many human lives, her cruelty could fester largely unchecked. For a time, at least, but evil, no matter how well hidden, often finds a way to reveal itself. And Delphine LaLaurie's carefully crafted world was about to come crashing down. Violently. Even before the infamous fire, rumors began to circulate. Dark whispers, unsettling stories about Madame LaLaurie's treatment of her enslaved people. Neighbors reported hearing things, seeing things, fleeting glimpses of cruelty that couldn't be easily dismissed. Stories of mistreatment were not uncommon in that era, a brutal reality of the times. But the tales surrounding the LaLaurie household had a particularly sinister edge, a disturbing pattern of alleged abuse. There was an incident involving a young enslaved girl, Leah. Some accounts say she was brushing Madame LaLaurie's hair and pulled too hard. Enraged, Delphine chased her. The girl, terrified, reportedly fell from the roof of the mansion to her death in the courtyard below. This event, though perhaps embellished over time, was one of the first major cracks in LaLaurie's public facade. It sparked concern. It fueled the growing unease among those who lived nearby. Witnesses claimed to see Delphine looking gaunt and unwell, malnourished. This was highly unusual for enslaved individuals working in prominent households where they were often seen as reflections of their owner's status. The LaLauries had many enslaved people, yet their public appearances became less frequent. Some seemed to vanish altogether. These disappearances did not go entirely unnoticed. They added to the growing cloud of suspicion. The authorities were even prompted to investigate on at least one occasion. It said that an attorney visited the mansion, but Delphine was charming, persuasive. She managed to allay his concerns, or so the story goes. The laws of the time offered little protection to the enslaved, and Delphine's social standing likely intimidated many. So the whispers continued, the unease grew, but the true extent of the horror remained concealed, waiting for a spark to ignite the truth. April 10th, 1834. That's the date everything changed. A fire broke out in the LaLaurie Mansion. Not in the main living quarters, but in the kitchen. Some say it was started deliberately by the cook, a 70-year-old enslaved woman, chained to the stove, desperate. She reportedly confessed she set the fire to draw attention, to expose the horrors within. She feared being taken to the uppermost room, a place from which no one returned. As flames licked at the opulent structure, neighbors and firefighters rushed to help. Their primary concern was saving lives and property. They battled the blaze. They entered the burning mansion. And that's when they stumbled upon something far more terrifying than the fire itself. They broke down a locked door. A door leading to the attic, or perhaps a hidden chamber. The accounts vary slightly, but what they found was unambiguous. Pure, unadulterated horror. Inside that secret room, the rescuers made a gruesome discovery. Several enslaved individuals, chained, mutilated, starved, victims of unimaginable torture. The descriptions are graphic, stomach-churning. They spoke of people confined in tiny cages, of iron collars with spikes, of bodies bearing the marks of prolonged, sadistic abuse. The scene was so horrific, so beyond comprehension, that it shocked even a city accustomed to the brutalities of slavery. The firefighters, hardened men, were appalled. They worked to free the victims, to bring them out into the light. The sight of these suffering souls, brought out from the smoke-filled mansion, ignited a firestorm of a different kind, a firestorm of public outrage. The carefully constructed facade of Madame Delphine LaLaurie had been consumed by the flames, revealing the monstrous truth that lay beneath. The city of New Orleans would never look at her or her mansion the same way again. Section 5, A City's Fury, the Mob and Delphine's Escape. The news spread like wildfire. The horrific discoveries made within the LaLaurie Mansion ignited the citizens of New Orleans. What began as hushed rumors and uneasy whispers transformed into a collective roar of indignation and disgust. The sheer brutality of Madame LaLaurie's actions was too much to bear. Even in an era where the mistreatment of enslaved people was tragically common, the calculated, sadistic nature of her cruelty set her apart. It was a level of evil that a shocked populace could not ignore. A mob quickly formed, thousands of enraged citizens. They descended upon 1140 Royal Street. Their grief and anger were palpable. They were not there to save the mansion, they were there to destroy it, to tear it apart brick by brick, as if by dismantling the physical structure they could somehow erase the stain of the atrocities committed within its walls. They ransacked the home, smashing windows, breaking furniture, and doing extensive damage. The elegance was shattered, replaced by chaos and fury. Amidst this chaos, Delphine LaLaurie and her husband, Dr. Louis LaLaurie, somehow managed to escape. How did they slip away? The details are murky. Some say they fled to the waterfront, boarding a schooner bound for Covington across Lake Pontchartrain. From there, it's believed they eventually made their way to Paris, France. Delphine